Well, a very good evening to you on this 21st day of May 2024. You're just in time for the bottom line here on Lookuptv. Remember, you can watch this bulletin live on our Facebook and YouTube pages at Lookuptv. Now, our sign language interpreter is Justin Auko and Ian Keitani is my name. Let's kickstart our bulletin now. And the Kenya Medical Research Institute has renewed its 5-year collaboration agreement with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding was held at Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States, between Kemri Acting Director General Professor Elijah Sangok and CDC's Global Health Center Director Dr. Kalia Lasson, in the presence of Dr. William RUTO. With President William Ruto's U.S. visit entering its second day, the Commander-in-Chief witnessed the signing of MOUs between the Center for Disease Control and the Kenya Medical Research Institute, with the MOU expected to enhance collaborative activities between Kemri and CDC on a reciprocal basis. This collaboration will encompass human health research and program implementation at Kemri facilities and in Kenyan communities.
Our health system is supported by a diverse array of public, private, and non-governmental entities. Through the strategic partnerships with these sectors, including faith-based organizations, the government has expanded healthcare access nationwide and enhanced capacity to tackle health challenges and emergencies efficiently. It is important to state simply, directly, and clearly that the U.S. government has been our greatest ally in this sector.
With healthcare being top on President William Ruto's agenda, the head of state highlighted the steps made in the fight against malaria and the spread of HIV.
The impact, innovation, and focus of the collaboration between Kenya and CDC has set a standard that transcends our boundaries. Another organization which highlights the positive impact of effective partnership between Kenya and United States organizations is the Kenya Medical Research Institute.
Ruto also addressed Kenyans living in the United States, noting his commitment to ensuring increased production, insisting that the only way to achieving that is through working together.
We're going to make sure that we invest appropriately and correctly in agriculture. When I came into office, I said we are not going to subsidize consumption. We are going to invest in production. The price of bunga a year and a half ago was 220. Today it is 100 shillings. With the polls, we had a competition. We were told there is something called deep state. We were told there is something called system, but the people of Kenya decided. And because the people of Kenya have decided, we have no option but today to work together.
Of course, remember, President William Ruto is still in the United States of America and will be following up that historic tour for you. Now, moving forward, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has urged the leaders to focus on service delivery to the people and stop engaging in succession politics. Speaking during the burial service of Julius Ndumbe, a former principal of Kianyanga High School in Kirinyaga County, Gachagua urged Mount Kenya leaders to remain united and move away from divisive politics.
Upon arriving to pay his final respect to teacher Julius Ndumbe, a retired teacher from Kianjakoma Boys High School who had served as the member of the National Irrigation Authority, the DP wasted no time in addressing the evident political discord among the leaders of the Mount Kenya region. He cautioned against any actions that might disrupt long-standing peace and unity of the community, which has long served as beacon for other communities across the country.
I made a decision as a senior most leader in this region to unite everybody, irrespective of where you voted. And that is a unity of purpose for this region. I, Rigathi Gachagua, will never fight my brother or my sister. We have learned our lessons of division.
Furthermore, Gachagua highlighted the challenges faced by the Mount Kenya community have been fueled by leaders from outside the region who seek to sow discord, politically fragment them, and undermine their collective strength in pursuing their interest.
Other regions are not fighting. People want this region to fight. Ndio tupotee hapo katikati. But why I'm happy today is that the ordinary person from Mount Kenya is united. Lakini tangu zamani, this region of ours has a history of traitors and betrayals.
The Mount Kenya region has recently experienced significant political turbulence, notably with one faction convening a meeting in Limuru 3, a move that has drawn criticism from some regional leaders. Additionally, speculation abounds regarding the role of former President Uhuru Kenyatta in the region's politics, with some viewing him as the political figurehead and spokesperson for the community, while others throw their support behind Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Tuache mambo mingi, siasa mingi ya kutafuta viti. Hii viti inapeanwa na Mungu. Ngoja wakati wako, Mungu atakupatia ile amekupangia. It's God who gives leadership. Pana sumbuka sana, pana lala. Sasa tuko 2024. Wengine watu wanapanga 2032. Nani anajua kama utakuwa uhai? Yeah, I mean, surely.
John Matava, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Let's talk matters education now. The Teachers Service Commission Chief Executive Officer Nancy Macharia has maintained that the Commission has continued to employ fairness and non-discrimination in its recruitment process as entailed under TSC hiring. Now appearing before the Senate Education Committee, Macharia briefed members on the milestones made in the hiring of teachers with P1 certificates who have upgraded to diploma level. Stanley Lugaria attended that session and files the following report.
And then he can bring us in. I have absolutely.
Teachers Service Commission Chief Executive Officer Nancy Macharia insists plan to retool P1 teachers who are seeking to attain diploma certificates under short courses program is on course in observance of the existing statutes both fairly and undiscriminatingly.
The program is being contracted by the Minister of Education, and at one time it was halted due to the COVID-19. Patently, despite the cessation of the program, the Commission, in a bid to ensure inclusivity and non-discrimination, continues to employ teachers with P1 certificates who have not pursued or upgraded to diploma qualifications.
Macharia, while appearing before the Senate Committee on Education to deliberate on the responses to the statements pending before the committee, including measures put in place by state and TSC in retooling of teachers with P1 certificates in upgrading to diploma.
These marginalized areas might be disadvantaged. They might be disadvantaged by this scorecard. So I want us to see how and appreciate your response on the marginalized areas.
Flexible learning options, and in recognition of the diverse needs and circumstances of teachers, the Commission promotes flexible learning options of undertaking or retooling programs during school holidays, which is done by as an agency.
The scheme is not working because if you can have teachers not getting medical attention, then that is serious.
The CEO briefed the committee on whether teachers with P1 certificates who have upgraded to diploma level will be prioritized by the Commission during the recruitment of teachers.
To me, was very sufficient. That locals will compete against locals, and only when there are no locals to fill up the vacant positions will non-locals be allowed.
The Commission has developed curriculum guidelines that govern the recruitment process to ensure that the process is carried out in a lawful manner. The guidelines outline the skills and competencies necessary for one to be recruited.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Now, nearly 2 years after the general elections, there have been hits and misses by elected leaders across the country. Now, from a list of many aspirants, voters picked 6 leaders at the ballot. Tonight, the big question is, are you as a Kenyan satisfied with the leaders you chose? And if given a chance, would you re-elect them?
Today, in our segment of Your Opinion Matters, we are asking citizens if elections were to be conducted today, will they re-elect their leaders? Let's hear what Kenyans have to say.
Nitaelect wengine. Kwa sababu ya kwanza, kama huyu tuko naye sana, anaitwa William. Acha tumpe heshima yake, William Samoei Ruto. He's a good president, but akona uongo mwingi sana. A lot of lies. Sekta ya motorbike. Alisema ata improve motorbike, whatever, loans, whatever. Saa hizi anawacharge overcharge.
Serikali yenye iko saa hii inafaa hata yote itupiriwe mbali, tuende uchaguzi tena, tuchaguze watu wengine wapya. Wengine tunaweza chagua tena, wengine wako BA. Mimi ni hapa Nairobi Star constituency. So unapata Sakaja kwa top, Sakaja anadu, Sakaja kwa BA. Mimi naweza mchagua tena. Lakini tukishuka down kwa MP, kwa Starehe unajua si tuko na Mr. Amos Mwago. Jo unapata Mwago, fomu ya Mwago bana si ile tulikuwa tunatarajia.
If I was to re-elect the current government, the president, I wouldn't, because the past 1 year, I feel like the rate of taxes have gone high, and I think we need that change. So I will re-elect them in the next election.
Wengi wao tungeweka nje kwa sababu inaonekana kwamba wao walipoingia waliingia na kwamba wangeweza kushughulikia masuala ya watu wa chini, haswa mahaslas, lakini kwa saa hizi kila ambacho wanafanya ni kinyume kabisa. Kila sera ambazo wanapitisha ni za kuumiza na kukandamiza mahaslas na kuwafinyilia chini.
What I can say about the current leadership, I find it hypocritical when it came to looking for votes. They went to the grassroots, asked people of the issues they are facing, and they say they will implement different things. But when it comes to implementation and decision making, it seems like they're operating on a different copy.
As a young person, given an opportunity to elect my leaders again, well, there are some which I will dissolve instantly.
Those were some of Kenyan sentiments, where most of them seem unsatisfied with their leaders. Remember, your opinion matters to us. I'm Shamila Baraza, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Squatters in Portland, Athi River, are living in fear after alleged cartels threatened to stop the company's project of selling them land as agreed 2 years ago. The locals now decry frustration, saying they have already started paying installments to officially acquire the land, but if the threats are anything to go by, then they could lose both their land and money.
Unrest is growing in Portland at the river 2 years after the Portland company agreed to sell the 709-acre farm for 600,000 shillings for 50 by 100 plots in a gradual payment plan of 3 years.
Tulipewa 3 years na hata saa hizi Portland hawajakataa hiyo miaka 3 ndio watu watalipa, na hata inaweza kuwa more than 5 years kwa sababu kuna banks zimeingia ndani zimechip in ambao zimelipia some of our members.
2 years on, the program is now facing a threat after a group of cartels recently began charging the squatters money, threatening and persuading them not to pay money to the Portland landowner as they had agreed in the collective bargaining agreement with the company.
Makatelo ya watu na wanatumia mambo some few members hata hawezi fika 20. Kuna members wetu wanatumia na makatels mpaka wanaita media, wanataka hii process isimame, na hii process haiwezi simama. Tunafanya vizuri sana na county government na national government na kila stakeholders tumewaweka ndani.
The farm, located opposite the Nairobi-Mombasa highway, was used by the cement company before the project was completed in 2009 when squatters took up residence after the company promised to sell the farm to them, a promise realized 14 years later.
Jamba tulipigania sasa ni miaka 14 tukiwa hapa, na watu wengine walikuja juzi wanataka
wakakuwa ati ndio wanajua zaidi ya sisi.
Ninaamini kana kwamba kwa safari ya kukosangi makosa, kila member tulimwambia aende alipe pesa kwa account ya Portland, lakini Portland wametuchelewesha kidogo kutupatia contract na kutupatia agreement.
The leaders have stressed that they will comply with the contract provided by the farm owner and ensure justice is done.
Mimi nataka kuhakikishia kila member, as long unajua kuna plot hapa na umelipia, hakuna plot hata moja itapotea. Kwa ule muda utapewa ulipie plot hiyo, na hakikishia hakuna member atanyang'anywa na hakuna plot ya mtu itapotea.
Beatrice Ndanu, Lookuptv.
Another story by Beatrice Ndanu takes us to a fast breather here on the bottom line. We'll be back with more stories on the other side of the break.
Kipchoge from Kenya, can he win this? And Kipchoge wins it for Kenya, the Berlin Marathon, Kipchoge.
What's up, Louis?
Inakuaje?
Aiko soma hapa.
How are you doing?
Lego mkono.
Kamata. Uko tayari?
Mimi niko tayari.
Ipigwe?
Nyonywe.
Kamata ushindi na Tatua Bonanza Live. Cheza Tatua 3 sasa upate nafasi ya bure kushiriki kwenye game show ya Tatua Bonanza Live. Wachezaji 4 watachaguliwa na wataweza kuchagua kati ya spin the wheel ili washinde hadi shilingi $500,000, au watachagua nambari yoyote kati ya 1 na 9 ili washinde zawadi kama fridge, smart TV, cookers na nyinginezo.
Wale watu wanasema ati hatuna pesa. Wanasema ati hatuna pesa.
Wanasema nini?
Mnasema ati hatuna pesa.
Mko na pesa?
Sisi tuko na pesa. Pesa hii tuko na pesa. Hili nini?
Hii ni pesa.
Hili nini?
Na hii ni ya mafuta.
Hii ni ya mafuta. Hii 30 million.
Enda kwa M-Pesa paybill number 150-150. Chagua nambari zako 3 za bahati kuanzia 0 hadi 9. Ufuatanishe na neno live kama account number. Kisha weka pesa kuanzia shilingi 10 hadi 1,000.
Anafanyanga hivyo.
Hiyo sitakukomoa. Wewe ndio umesema, sio mimi, ni wewe.
Anafanyanga hivyo alafu anachukua change. Anapianga bwana.
Mimi nataka ubaki na hizo pesa. Sawa? Sema amen.
Amen.
Yes. Ndio hiyo kidogo.
Hivyo baa, mimi nataka useme nipe. Anini wewe?
Over 18s only. Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly. This message has been approved by the BCLB.
Leo tunazungumzia swala la ufisadi ambalo limekuwa likiangaziwa kwa muda sasa. Wenyeji wanasema hili kuhusiana na ufisadi, wanasema kwamba imewaangamiza, wengine wanasema kwamba iliwapa nafasi ya kuweza kuingia katika sehemu mbalimbali.
So we have to accept the fact that people work hard outside here. It is not a corruption alone that can make you thrive. Scrap off that mentality in you.
And the degree of personality cult in ladies compared to men is very high. Ladies, they believe that things will be better without working for that thing.
Sasa tumegrow tukiwa nayo hivyo. Sasa hii ni culture, ni norm.
Some of even these government appointees, wale ambao wana occupy zile spaces, they are there because of how close were you to the whoever person when you're in power. So this is a norm that should be broken.
My brother, me, I think at some point corruption is good.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
thank you very much for staying with us. Let's continue with the bulletin. And the L Square organization held a food drive exercise in Narok South to families severely affected by floods. Now, this as a construction of schools damaged by floods has begun in Samburu, courtesy of Kenya Drylands Education Fund and Samburu North CDF. Martin Masharia with the flood effect updates across the country.
In response to the devastating floods caused by heavy rainfall in Narok South sub-county, L Square organization has extended a helping hand to approximately 1,000 vulnerable families. Their initiative saw the distribution of 11 tons of food, 50 bales of sanitary towels and blankets to residents of Ngoswani, Majimoto, Ntuka and Narusura areas severely affected by the calamity. Acknowledging the dire situation, Anthony Njoroge, a director of L Square organization, emphasized their commitment to supporting communities amidst the erratic weather patterns.
Today we are giving out 11 tons of food. We came with 50 bales of sanitary towels and other things, blankets, just to bless these people. And on behalf of our president and vice president and the team in US, in California, we want to say thank you so much.
Elsewhere, amidst the devastating effects of heavy rains on learning institutions in northern Kenya, the Drylands Education Fund, in partnership with the Samburu North CDF, has undertaken a commendable initiative to rebuild and enhance educational facilities in the region. The collaborative efforts have resulted in the construction of teachers' houses, dormitories, toilets, and the opening of a laboratory to address the challenges faced by schools in Marsabit and Samburu counties.
Schools have suffered because of the effect of the rain. We've had cases of classes collapsing, toilets collapsing. So we'd like to appeal to other stakeholders, donors, and across the country to consider the people of northern Kenya. We know that most resources are going to the south part of the country. I think we appeal that stakeholders come into northern Kenya and try to help areas like Baragoi, areas like Marsabit County, and Samburu County in general.
Samburu North Member of Parliament Eli Iletipila expressed gratitude for the collaboration with the Kenya Drylands Education Fund, highlighting the significant improvements made in the education sector through the construction of classrooms, toilets, and other essential facilities.
With our partners, Kenya Drylands Education Fund, in support of education initiatives in Samburu North, we are giving out bursaries for needy students here today to commission a laboratory, which we have done through the national government CDF for the year 2023-2024. We are also looking forward to making strides in development within this community.
Martin Masharia, Lookuptv.
Now, Getindi South MP George Kengombe was involved in a shootout incident with a bodaboda rider allied to Kemri MCA in Thika over a market construction. Now, as Stephanie Agugu now files, there is a growing dispute between the national government and the county government on Kiambu on roles and responsibilities.
The ongoing tension between the national government and Kiambu County government regarding the construction of promised markets pledged during President William Ruto's campaign are escalating, leading to conflict and most recently a shooting incident.
There are those functions that were devolved when we promulgated the 2010 Constitution, and that should be respected by all of us. Actually, there is no elected leader who never saw by our Constitution that we are going to protect our Constitution. And if the Constitution dictates that there are those functions that were left to the county, let those functions be left to the county.
The shooting incident involved Gatundu South MP George Kagombe and boda rider allied to Kamenu MCA in Thika. The dispute revolved around the construction of markets, sparkling fights between Thika MP Alice Nganga and Kiambu Governor.
We have been having an issue with our budget. Every time we have always asked that our budgets at the county government come as itemized, that we're able to know in case there's an allocation of a market, we know which market, what percentage or what amount of money. But apparently, unfortunately, our budgets just come as, as a block without being itemized what project has been allocated what amount. And that is why we can confidently say that the market that was in question is Kiganjo, was not in our ADP, and we can confidently say that there's no allocation for the market. Something else I'd want to highlight is the President, His Excellency the President, William Samoei Ruto, is on record telling MPs to give them a go-ahead to go and launch markets because they are being funded by the national government.
Action of MCAs supporting the national government argued that the proposed market were not included in the county's budget, giving MPs the authority to oversee the projects to fulfill President Ruto's promise. On the other hand, county government supporters accused the MPs of exceeding their mandate and insist that the county government should be solemnly responsible for overseeing the market construction.
Kusema ukweli, tumeona vita kutoka kitambo ya wajumbe wa national government kuingililia vita za county government. Tumekuwa na hizi vita eti ndio agenda yao ndio ikuwe ndio wanapendekeza. Hii mtendo isipotiliwa mbali, tutaendelea kuwa na hizi vita na Wanjiko wa Kiambu hataona maendeleo. Na ile kitu ya kuhuzunisha ni ati katiba inatupatia ruhusa sisi wana county government kufanya ile kazi ambayo tunafaa kufanya kama kujenga masoko. Hiyo ni kazi ya county na hatujashindwa kufanya hiyo kazi.
Stephanie Google, Lookuptv.
Now, the Kenya Ports Authority has announced a 1.4 billion compensation and resettlement plan for the residents of Dongo Kundu in Mombasa County. Speaking before the National Assembly Committee on Implementation, KPA Managing Director William RUTO stated that the authority will engage with the Mombasa County government to determine how the residents will be compensated and resettled. Nominated Senator Miraj Abdillahi has voiced her support for Captain RUTO, urging him not to be intimidated and ensure that compensation is given to actual residents of Dongo Kundu.
The resettlement of the PAPs, whether the funds are there and whether we are resettling. The funds are there, we have the money in our accounts, we have 1.4 billion that we are going to compensate them. And next week we will be engaging the leadership of Mombasa County in terms of the compensation. The process, as my peers have said, is at the tail end now. We finalize with NLC, we are also finalizing with the Ministry of Land. Now we are now doing validation and also sensitizing and also holding public participation before we disperse the money and then we resettle them.
Kwa idara ya bandari na kwa wahusika ambao watakwenda kupeana zile checks ni kwamba they should not be intimidated. Wasikubali kunyanyaswa, wao wafanye majukumu yao kama walivyoshika katiba. Waweze kuwafanyia haki wakaazi wa Dongo Kundu, kwa sababu tunawajua waliokuwa wakiishi pale na tunajua wale ambao walijaribu kufanya ule mradi ni wao binafsi, wakajaribu kutia marafiki zao, familia zao. Sisi si mahasidi.
Now, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration has strengthened the capacity of the 47 county commissioners in spearheading tree planting activities through training, an exercise jointly supported by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. The training curriculum, co-created with the Kenya School of Government, will empower the county commissioners in monitoring and reporting mechanisms for climate change interventions within their respective counties.
As the government steps up its efforts in combating climate change, with sights set on planting 15 billion trees by 2032, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration today held a training session aimed at strengthening the capacity of the 47 county commissioners in spearheading tree planting activities, an exercise jointly supported by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Interior PS Raymond Dumalo has called on the commissioners to make tree planting their priority, noting that the government will provide monetary support for the same.
The training curriculum co-created with the Kenya School of Government will also empower national government administrative officers with monitoring and reporting mechanism for climate change interventions within your jurisdictions. To achieve this, the tree growing agenda must top the issues of your everyday business, not just in raising awareness in the various fora that you address, but in cascading it to the grassroots levels where your respective chiefs will become the focal points.
The training comes following the flash floods witnessed in the with PS Somolo further noting that officers will be trained on combating climate change.
Under the NCC SRP, officers will be trained on climate change and aim to empower youth to mobilize and support the 15 billion tree campaign and other climate change interventions, fostering an understanding of different ecosystems and actions to support climate resilient development and cooperation over shared resources. This meeting comes in the wake of the deadly floods that have regrettably led to the loss of lives of close to 300 Kenyans. And it has also left in its wake serious destruction, particularly on settlements.
Dr. Rose Akombo, a representative from the Ministry of Environment, highlighted the importance of mitigating the effects of climate change, with a mobile application dubbed Jazamete expected to be used to monitor progress.
We are also advocating that as we report, to be able to monitor our performance, we will be very keen in how we are going to report the targets. We have an app, the Jazamete app, which I know most of you have been appraised about. It is basically a mobile phone app that will help us to give real-time reporting of our efforts. So we are looking forward to for seedling production, the tree growing targets, but also finally regulating how we are going to harvest the...
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
The Kenya Union of Pre-Primary Education Teachers West Pokot branch has directed all junior secondary school teachers to suspend the ongoing strike for the benefit of learners until when the government, through the Teachers Service Commission, will employ them on a permanent and a pensionable basis. Majid Hussein brings you this and more from the counties.
Addressing the media in Kapenguria, Kuppet directed striking JSS teachers in West Pokot to stop the strike and go back to class. The teachers have remained unbowed, demanding payment and recognition on permanent basis, maintaining that all learning process shall be brought to a standstill if the employer does not consider their irreducible minimums.
Telling TSC, if they are not going to confirm those teachers into permanent and pensionable, we are telling our teachers not to go to class, because we want them to get their rights to be employed in the permanent and pensionable.
It is a relief for more than 100 farmers with low income in West Pokot after the county government gave 27 million shillings check that will enable them get involved in various farming projects, including animals.
Project tunasaidiana kama county na pia wahisani wetu kama World Bank wamekuwa kisupport sisi, na hii ni program inaisha December vile nimesema, na kuna projects ambayo ilikuwa hapo awali za wards zingine. Kwa hivyo tuko na bahati kama county. Kwa hivyo nyinyi wenye mtapata leo hizo checks ya bilioni 27 si pesa kidogo, lakini iende isaidie ninyi kama wakulima na ilete mabadiliko katika sehemu zetu hizo.
Finally, Machakos County government has announced 100% waiver on all outstanding penalties and interest accrued on unregistered land and property development, land, housing and urban development and energy. SSM Nathaniel Nganga urged residents to rush and take advantage of the window of opportunity, which runs between May 15th and June 15th. Addressing journalists in his office, he said the department was implementing the directive by Governor Wavinya Ndeti, who granted the appeal by members of the public.
Because we're only waiving penalties and interest accrued, all right? And we're only giving an advantage for people to be able to comply with the law, because people have been required to pay every month. We, in our register, we have been able to register about 55,000 parcels, but from the records in the registry, we realize in Machakos we have about over 2 million parcels of land.
Majid Hussein, Lookuptv.
time to get sporty now, and a team of 6 boxers from the hit squad have jetted out of the country to Bangkok, Thailand to seek qualification in the upcoming Olympic Games set for the 26th of July to August 11th in Paris, France. The players who travelled are Edwin Odongo, Peter Abuti and Boniface Mugunde, while the women's team comprises of Anina Martha, Frieza Anyango and Elizabeth Adiengo. Now, Real Madrid and German international player Toni Kroos has announced his incoming retirement that will come at the end of the Euros campaign. Kroos, aged 34, has stated that he wants to retire when still at the top of his game, testament to the season he is having with Real Madrid, already La Liga champions and UEFA Champions League finalists. Kroos hopes to sign off on a high note by winning a Champions League medal against Borussia Dortmund for a record 6th time. Well, that story of Toni Kroos announcing his retirement, that will come after the Euros wraps up our bulletin at this particular moment in time. But thank you very much for making time to be with us this particular night. See you again tomorrow on The Insight. But until then, do have yourself a wonderful night, and like always, God bless.